Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Box Office Receipts for the weekend of April 12th, 2019. I'm your host, Tyler Callahan, and this week we got our standard weekend numbers, international updates, and what is coming out next week. Let's start with the weekend numbers because, oh boy, do we have a bomb to talk about. In first place for the second weekend in a row is Shazam with 24.4 million for a current total of 94.2 million. In second place is Little with 15.4 million. In third place is Hellboy with 12 million. In fourth place is Pet Sematary with 9.7 million for a total of 40.8 million so far. Lastly, in fifth place is Dumbo with 9.4 million for a total of $90.1 million. So yeah, we have a bit to talk about here this week. First, as expected, Missing Link did poorly. A bit more than I expected since it came in at ninth place with 5.9 million. But the big shocker was Hellboy. Now, I recorded last week's episode before everything came out, and the movie blew up, so let's go over what happened. And blew up in a bad way, not a good way. First, it was expected to get between 15 and 20 million for its opening weekend, and I thought it'd be a bit on the higher side for it. Well, the reviews came out, and it was bad. Like, not, oh, it's a bit bad, it's trash, it's insulting, and is now a contender for one of the worst movies of the year. On top of that, a report came out about the troubled production between the director and some of the producers who have the actual rights to Hellboy. So you had the issue of, well, the director has his vision for the movie, but the producer said otherwise, and if they have the rights to Hellboy, well, you can't just tell them to fuck off, let me work, so you have discussions that turned into arguments instead. Along with this, at some point, the director just left to go somewhere with his girlfriend and start developing other movies. Meanwhile, this was happening while Hellboy was finishing up filming and still had to be edited. So yeah, I guess you could say Hellboy's production was, hell. But all terrible jokes aside, this movie was a mess to make, looked like a mess, and it turned out to be worse than it was expected. It would be lucky to hit 25 to 30 million domestic total. For some international numbers, Shazam has made 164 million for a worldwide total of 258.3 million so far. It's doing okay, thank God for the lower budget that is saving this movie. Pet Sematary has 35.7 million internationally for a worldwide total of $76.5 million. Lastly, it looks like Dumbo is starting to slow down with it at 178.7 million internationally and 268.9 million worldwide. There's only one wide release coming out this weekend, and that is The Curse of La Llorona, the latest horror movie from Warner Brothers. They apparently may or may not have a connection to the Conjuring universe. Now, it is a horror movie, so it'll make some money, but the question is, can it beat a weaker Shazam? Shazam is going into its third weekend, however, it is Easter weekend. And I don't know, usually horror movies do good on their opening weekend. I don't know if Easter weekend is going to help it though. It might actually hurt it. Because I don't think people are going to go out and see a horror movie for Easter weekend. They'll probably be with their families and maybe go see a more family-friendly movie, such as Little, Shazam, or Dumbo. So my top 5 predictions for the weekend are, in the first place, Shazam, second place, The Curse of La Llorona, third place, Little, fourth place, Pet Sematary, and lastly, Hellboy. That is it for this week's episode of Box Office Receipts. If you have your thoughts about who's going to be in first place this Easter weekend, you can let me know on Twitter at TylerCallahan95 or on Instagram at TylerCallahanMedia. Thank you for listening, and see you next week.